Ladies and gentlemen, how we had left off last Wednesday is I went through this whole sequence of how to recover your guard and the things that you were thinking. And he was playing top like this, and I'm trying to grab on in some manner. And this isn't where we're going to do this at the end. Okay, so we went over it last week. Is he ends up in some manner flaring, right? Like where he comes here, he's gotten a grip. Because if you backtrack what we were working on, he grabbed my foot. That was one of the things we worked on for a week when he was able to grab foot. Maybe he was here, right? And he got some form of a wedge as I was trying to pick him up, and now he flared the hip, and now he's past me. If he's a good player, he's going to pass really quick, right? Or he was here, and in some manner, he smashed me, and now I'm going, oh, darn, he's collapsing on me, and now he's like this, and now he's going back and forth. We worked out also, all of those things, right? And then we go backwards now, right? Where all of those things happened, right? He grabbed my foot, right? And now he's starting to flare, and I went up on my shoulder, and right away, I was here, and now before he ever caught up to me, I threw over, and now I'm recovered. And then through that, I was explaining that there's certain things that you have to do technically. If you weren't here, or you were here, and if you weren't here, I have to tell you that even the best players in the room, when I was watching it, it was atrocious. It was honestly, if you were here that day, I barely get anybody to do it right. There were some people that were doing it well, so it's not everybody. But it was so ingrained, and unfortunately, it's so ingrained in these bad habits, and it has to do with like how you're taught from the very beginning. You're taught to like shrimp across the room, and you're taught never to get up on your shoulder. Like no one ever reinforced these good habits. Like, so I want to be able to do a couple of things, right? And this is where we were. I want to be able to get up on this shoulder. And what I described in that class was about this Heisman Trophy pose, right? If you don't know what the Heisman Trophy is, it's a trophy that's given to the best college football player in the country every year. It's a big deal. It's broadcast, like very big deal. And then the reason I say about the Heisman Trophy pose is because in guard defense, right, we got two knees and two hands, and I don't want to lose the head battle. I would love to be in here, and he would love to be in here. This guy marries up perfectly. He would love to drive in and get head control, right, or head dominance, right? He never wants to, obviously he doesn't want to tilt his head too low. He wants to separate me, divide me. So if you understand like the whole concept behind it, it mirrors exactly the same. So I don't ever want that to happen. I also want to be able to get grips and contact points, and I'm coming in and I want to get grips because I did this podcast recently, and then how I describe this, if anybody watches this, you're coming in to get your grips, right? You're coming in to get points of contact. And now as you're coming in and you're like this, there's a moment, if he's a good player, that I'm not the one that moves faster right now. I'm sitting on my butt. He's up, and he can spin and turn and tilt before I get control of him. So I'm coming in aggressively. This isn't real. Like, he starts like this and you go, this isn't real. Like, then you go and think that this works, and then you go to compete and you have no success, and like, it's true, you have no success. Like, so this isn't real, and I'm coming in like this and go, okay, I got points of contact, and he flares at this point, and I'm going, uh-oh, I just lost the angle, and I lost my points of contact, so I have no control. So go down for a second, go back for a second, right? So now he's coming around the turn, and the angle changed in his benefit. So what I described was about this Heisman Trophy. So I attach everything backward and forward. And I said, okay, he's coming around the turn. It's not, the biggest mistake I can make is try to fall and reface him, because if he's good, and about 3 weeks ago when I was showing that knee drop to a back step, he's going to beat my angle so well that he's either going to end up, come here with me, this is what I mean by it. He came on a flare, and I'm going, he's already beat me on this angle, and I'm like this, and now he hits the back step hard. No, you shouldn't. Don't go back a second. I'm a stickler for detail. You can't pick that knee up and have a double switch on that. He's like this, and he just came, and I go, oh, and now he's driving a back step all the way, and I'm going, oh, darn. And now he lands a wedge onto this hip line, and I can't recover, and he squares up on me, right? So can't have that happen, right? So I'm going, okay, that. And now if I run, which is what I want to do, is I don't want him to take control of this hip and get control of this hip. I want to get this hip high and out of the pocket, Because if he gets control over my hip, he's going to dominate my hip pockets. And now I don't want that, right? So he makes this turn. I say, okay, I got to drop on this shoulder. And this is how I want you to drop. Go back 1 second. I want you to drop. You can put your hand out, but your goal is to get your elbow down. And it has to be a correct angle. Your elbow is not landing like this. Your elbow and this lat muscle is landing at a 45. Because as I land this, I want to suck my hip out off that shoulder and bring these hips up. I don't want this hip, go down a second, to get through the pocket. Because if he gets through the pocket, then I got to add another bell and whistle. And you know, every time that you add a bell and whistle, there's a chance that you slip and fall. Right? I'm like this, and I come around the turn. And he's landing that. He's coming up. And he wanted to get that hip out. Right? So I want to close that distance quickly. Right? But he has to get that hip out for a reason. Because if I do close the distance quickly, he's going to have to give me another quarter turn. Young man, you should pay attention. I watch you roll. You should pay attention. Yeah. Okay. So, and I don't mean to be cruel, but you came here for a purpose. Learn. Don't go through the motion. All your focus is on rolling. Like, why? Like, that's what is your focus to get better? And is the game just like, is that how you live life? Like, with short-term goals or long-term goals, right? Come around this turn. I'm like this. And now he's coming up on that shoulder. I'm going, oh, I couldn't catch up fast enough. And if I did, I'm going to move up 4 inches. You see this Heisman Trophy pose? Ethan's perfectly blocking the center line, and he's got this hand here that I'm trying to get to this hip. And as I'm getting to it, there's some type of barrier that I can't control it. That's why this hand's here, right? Does it have a big effect? No, but I don't want you grabbing my hips. Can't happen, right? I want to block that center line. That's how those hands should be. Now, before I was like this, he recovers so easy. He's going to throw this leg over. Throw the leg over. Perfect. And now he blocked the center pocket and we're back to a squared position. Do it again and pause it. He comes up. I'm going, oh. And I'm going, man, right now I told you game changes in 4 inches. I'm going to move up 4 more inches. Like this, right? And now he can't see me, right? And now you're going, and I'm trying to get control of these hips. He's going to land that kneecap down, and he's going to spin one more time, and I'm going to go. And now the shields are in again, right? So if I've lost sight of him on the Heisman Trophy, I'm going to drop my knee and make one more quarter turn, because that's where I'm going to be, right? So you anticipate where he's going. You were chasing him down an alley, and you know he made a right-hand turn, and you know there's a shortcut to get to that turn. It's the same principle. Life mirrors everything. I mean, Matt mirrors everything. I'm like this. I'm coming around the turn. He's coming up. I'm going, okay, right now he could clear me. He knows it. He can see me, right? He can see me. When you clear, okay, I would prefer if you can, when you take this leg over, there's going to be 2 ways to throw this leg over, right? There's competition. I'm going to hit you with a machete coming over the top. That's a baseball bat. I'm going to back out, hit that thing hard. Right? That thing's coming like a whip coming over the top, right? So when you're like this, you came up on his shoulder, and he's coming close. Don't get near the edge. He's coming close, and I'm going, whoa. I'm hitting him hard. Like, I want to dislodge him. Like, I'm not being nice because he's closing distance too tight on me. So I'm going to be vicious with it. Here, I'd like you to ask not to do that, okay? When you go up on that shoulder, I would love for you not to throw it over, because I don't really want this. Right, the essence of this guard recovery, let's say I come around this turn and I'm shelving like this. And it's a basic BJJ 101. You watch Zeke or Mart roll or one, and it's just basic BJJ. He throws his leg over, right? And that's how he should throw it. He didn't show me the outside ligament. Stay right there. He didn't show me that. He had this flared, and now it's a difficult turn around here. So he's not throwing it like this, because if he throws it like this, I'm just going to collapse it, take command of it, and now I'm going to start spinning left and right. So he didn't want to throw it like that. He wanted to throw it like this, with it flared hard, and he wanted to throw it, potentially, somewhere, because he can't throw it here yet. He's got to get this guy out. So right now, his feet are on opposite sides of my spinal cord, but they're very close to my spinal cord, because the goal is, as he gives me a little push, is to reset them on the opposite sides, right? Because then that's the essence of guard recovery. right? So you're seeing this from here. It's the same position that I'm going to show you from the top side. I'm like this coming through the pocket, and he's pushing. Watch, Zeke does this all day long, like all day long. He throws this leg over, and good luck. That's a perfect land. And now he gives me a little push, and he resets the feet squared up, right? That's all. It was 5 inches. That's it. Okay? Now, let's go back to the videotape, right? I said this the other day to Cynthia. I said, let's go back to it. If you're older and you know who Warner Wolf is, you know what I mean by that. Right? You know, see? Yeah, so Steve knows. Steve, you're showing your age. I come around the turn, right? I come around the turn. Yeah. Oh, all right. Warner Wolf was really popular at one time here in New York. I come around the turn, he comes over the top, I'm like this, look. And now, when you come over, right, how is he like coming over the same manner? No. Let me hear. Right, that's what I mean by it. He comes over, he's like this, come around this turn, I'll show for next. I'm coming up, and I'm going. I'm landing it the same way, right? I'm landing it the same way. I would prefer this center pocket not be open, because this is not going to, if he's big and strong, he's going to drive like a madman, and now he's going to center, and now he's stacking me, and now he's either going left or right, right? We worked that about 3 months ago, where you got some type of shelving on the leg. That's the same pass. Now I got to go into a whole nother series of chapters to get the hell out of that pocket. So I don't want it throwing long. I want it throwing long when I see your head coming through, and I go, oh, you really want to follow this one? Bah, right? But I'm going to play BJJ, and I'm going to be a nice guy, right? And I'm coming around this turn like this. And he's coming over, and he's going, throw it over. Exactly, right? I want to make that turn wide also, right? I want to keep those hands here, right? Now I'm going to ask you to do one more thing. No, now you're going to see. When you go do this drill, you're going to, I can't even make that turn. Around the turn where I go, you had a dead limb, you didn't put your hand in. I'm going to tell you things I'm going to see. You should be able to go up on the shoulder and you keep your hands here. I made this point the other day to somebody that's in here. You don't open these pockets up, right? That's the essence of dragging, omoplatas, clamping. Everything happened with this penetration, right? Don't ever let that happen. So as I'm like this and I'm coming up, these things are glued like crazy glue. They're glued like this. Come up, right? You never, because the moment I do this, if we went into this whole wrist ride series, that he's going to go hell with your hips. He's going to catch that wrist because this pocket is open, and now he's taking command of that wrist on me, right? And I'm going, oh, damn, this really, forget about you got a gi. You're in death. You're just like in the bottom of the pit right now. You're in trouble, right? So I don't ever want that to happen. So these things are glued to my hands in front. Number 2 is, I never need to get my head dominated. If he can get control of my jawline, he's going to manipulate my whole body with minimal strength, okay? So the reason I bring this up is, go back 1 second. When you go up on the shoulder, you're like this. You're going up on the shoulder. And now I went like this, and we're going to go through his last quarter turn where I lose sight of him. And I'm coming up on the shoulder. Legs, hands are closed. I'm not putting my hands down, okay? My hands are for fighting. I don't know if I'm going to get hit. I don't know if this guy's, another guy's over here kicking me in the face. I have no idea how this shit's going to go down. So I got to be realistic in this and how I learn it. So I'm going up on the top, and I'm going over the top. I'm going like this. When I make this final turn, I drop this kneecap. One other thing on this. This leg should be up as high up as possible, because when you make this physical turn at the end, you're like this, and you're turning. And remember the first thing they showed you, knee elbow escaping. That's the knee elbow escape on the other side. And now remember how I teach you guys, punch the pocket, punch the pocket. Man that dominates this pocket dominates the game. So why wouldn't I have the foresight that I'm making a final turn that my hands be like this? Okay, because I don't want this to get exposed, and I don't want you to control my jaw. So what I'll see is this, right? Put your hands down, all things wrong, right? Coming up on the shoulder, hands are like this, dead on the floor, center pocket's open. We don't even want to go through these passes because this leg's so far down that when you fall, there's no connection. This should be here. I've already made the turn at this point. As I'm making the turn, I'm blocking so that my face can turn. It's not here, it's not turned, because you see a man jumps left and right. He'll jump onto your backside and now take take your wrist right on you. So you're like this. As I fall, I'm like this. I'm back again, driving through the center pocket on a recovery. Okay? If you want to watch that again, you watch it. Now, I'm going to tell you the drill. This is how we're going to drill. Okay? Lay down. You have 3 drills. I'm going to stay up like this. I'm going to ask you, one where you grab and you turn, right? And that's all you have to do. He has to get up on his shoulder and leave. Okay? Come back again. Well, we're going to keep it to one side, right? Go down. Right? So we grab, I flared and I drove. He comes up. Now you start to understand, Zeke, he knows this other day, we had one correction, the drive on the skull. So Zeke was like this, and now you know he's coming up on that hip. So I got to marry the equation backwards so it makes sense to me. I know when I go like this, he's coming up on that hip. Go up on that hip, young man. And I'm going, oh, no, I can't let that hip get through. That's why you got to drive that skull, right? So now you got to go 1, right? We're going to imagine 8th and up. So you're just learning how to clear. That's all. 1, right? Perfect. I'm like this. And now the butterflies are in. I got another one, right? I got an inside frame. I go, clear. He should be up and out, okay? Again, you're like this. You're in a fight. He's grabbing, and I have the opportunity to smash pass. Lay back down for a second. Hands are on the outside. I'm either trying to do this one, or I'm here. If I push this one usually comes up also. I clear it on this side. You should have been up again, right? I'm coming forward. You don't want me to get control of that hip. So now you start to see the drill. 1, 2, 3, but every single one. I don't want you to finish the pass. I want you to get better at the tilts of the angle changes, right? And now he's getting good at just getting out of the pocket. No one passes us. Like, it's unacceptable. If passing should happen when you are attacking because you've left your defenses open. But if you have the mentality that, you know what, I'm not going to attack. He's really good. I'm just going to play a really good, solid defensive game. And if I see this huge opportunity, I'll maximize that. But then I see, like, I go, and he knows because I've run him ragged with it. Dude, what is going on here? You're getting, every time I turn around, somebody's on you. And I'm not a beginner guy. Like, we're talking about high-level blacks. But he also knows, like, how is this, like, you cannot do this. This is not acceptable, right? So one more time, we get started. Grab, and remember the drill, because we're going to do it on Friday. We're going to get really good at this. I touched, I flared. Perfect. I'm like this. I'm in tight. I'm fighting. I'm really visualizing what's going on. I'm grabbing hands. I just got a wet, right? I'm here. I'm visualizing. I smash. I'm here, trying to grab and drop. And now what is he doing every single time? I'm like this. Come up, right? Let me grab. I'm like this and go up. Yes, sir. Back again. I'm like this and go back. Yes, sir. That was perfect. Excellent. Right. I smash. Up. Yes, sir. Pretty easy drill. Very, 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 very effective for both parties. Obviously, we train together, so now we've got to start mixing those passes up so that I confuse him. He's like this, and he's going up on that shoulder. I'm going, okay, now I start grabbing different angles. Like, but we get so good at every read and reaction. Let's partner up and do this. If I started there and went around, I just would never make it back here, and we could stay here till 12 o'clock, just trying to fix this. And I'm not. This isn't critical. It's just how, and it's never. Don't ever take this as a negative, ever. It's always a positive. It's trying to find out. It's BJJ mirrors life. It's like, you know, who are the most like admired people that you go, man, I love being around that guy. It's people that are self-reflective on their faults. They don't think they have everything right. They don't ever think they have everything figured out, ever, right? They're always like, BJJ mirrors life. So you're trying to find, what are my faults? So I never say it as a negative. That I go, oh, we got to fix this. Because the essence of fighting is like to be able just to survive. Like whether you win the fight or not, is that I was able to walk away from here. And then even if you want to tell me the highest level, we say JT Torres versus Lucas Lepre, those things are decided on refs' decisions. Like, they literally, I never saw either one of them get a point on each other. It was like, you know, and they both have won. Lucas hasn't won ADCC, but he did silver, and JT won gold. Like, it just, so don't take it as a negative when I say these things. This hand, and we're talking about like guys that have been here 15 years. They're doing everything. The guy grabs onto his foot, and now they're not envisioning anything. They're not trying to like memorize this. And one of the ways that you memorize, like I've asked, one time I did this echocardiogram, and this guy was like into memorization, whatever. He wanted to impress me, so I was like telling him all these things. I was telling him, okay, the brick and the hat and all these things, and then he would just blow them out. I don't know what he was practicing. I said, dude, what's the trick behind that? And he said, I put it to a story. I put it to a story, and that's how the human mind, that's how all of those guys do it. That's how so why wouldn't you take what they do and implement it into the game that you like to play? It's creating the story so you could, but I see people they're trying to replicate what I did, and they have no story behind it. So it doesn't ever happen for them, and they're here years and years and years. This hand, I see people, right, he grabs the foot, we'll go slow. He makes this turn, and they go, like, Ethan already passed you at this point. Why is this hand making the turn this way? You shouldn't be. Because maybe you're so big and you go, he makes this turn and go, okay, you're too far away from my hips. I'm going to show you my back. You're nowhere near me, right? You just grabbed on and went, make the flare. No way. But now you get into this habit where you're just trying to mimic me. And you're just going, and now that's not what I told you about this hand. This hand's here for a reason, man. Like, I got to get separation. Like, you're going to come and punch me. Like, I can get my feet back in. You just want this angle. My hand's like this. It's up. And whether it goes like this later, maybe it doesn't. That's only if you made the turn so deep on me. His hand's up, okay? I'm like this at this point. And now he makes the turn. And I see people just laying down again, right? And they're going like this. Like, that's not what I told you to do. Right? And then they put in this hand on the mat. This hand didn't exist, right? This hand did not exist. This string is like this. This string should sit over this shoulder. So as I come up, and I didn't have this hand, I'm up like this, right? If you take this string out, and I took my hands up, this string is sitting over this shoulder because I got to make sure that I clear the headline over the top. But now you're doing it from here. You're going like this. I'm not even using my hand. You're laying sideways like this. And now this hand's laying here like this, or it's down here like this. It's over here from the very beginning. It's over here. He just wants my hand's here right away. And now I'm coming up like this. I'm coming up on the shoulder like this because I don't want him to get control of this hip. And I got to be able to take it. So even if he held my leg long, he'd come back here and hold that leg long. I'm like this, and I go, okay, so you held, but right now, you don't have the angle anymore. You're not here coming this way. So if you want to hold my ankle, and you can do it, like hold my ankle, and if you don't want it, and I know it's kind of tight in here, and you can't maybe do this one. You can't drop this and suck the hips out, right? Maybe because, listen, that helps because you gain another 4 inches, but let's say he grabs it, and now, this hand didn't have enough, and put my hand down. This hand never touches the mat. I'm like this. You come around the turn, I go, right? I'm like this because now you didn't win the angle, and now I hit the drag to come back the other way, right? So let's try our best to like really incorporate it with a story behind it for yourself. I don't care what the story is, but you're not going to do any of these things, and it has so many small details. I go back to Gordon, right? Why I pay him so many compliments? Because I look. When I watch, I don't look at the whole, I literally focus on him to see if he missed one hand position, one kneecap position, was his weight distribution. I literally watch every single, I want to know where his eyes are pointing. Like, that's how crazy I am. So, but and then you see, it's like, it's not an accident. It's not about any drugs or anything. He just takes those men apart like they're puppies. Like, they don't understand it. But let's try to emulate the most successful people in something we're passionate about. Because if we do that, like, that's the goal. It's like, I want to be better than that. You know, Johnny showed me the stuff a long time ago. And you know my goals? I want to know more than him. I want to be better than him. And the student that I teach, when he walks up and like a proud parent that goes to see their kid graduate, and like, no, man, they're so proud that that kid, maybe they were an immigrant, they didn't have an education. That kid walks up and they're so proud. And I want him to know more than me. And I want him to teach me. That's the goal. But just don't go through the motions. Let's do it. Yeah. Imagine you can't even do this one time correctly, and you can't mirror those same habits over and over and over. There's a couple of things I want before George goes. Let's do it, right? This gets mirrored the same way over and over, over and over and over. I'm like this, and I go, I just made this turn. George asked me a question. He goes up on the shoulder. I'm going, oh shit. And I'm like this, going back the other way. Where's he going? Up on the shoulder the other way, right? He's just not stopping it, right? He just learned that, so right now it's slow. But now you start to see, I got these massive jumps. They're 2 feet. He's got to go 7 inches, 7 inches. So as long as his read is not late, it's very difficult. They did some type of super camp where they had all these guys with Gordon, right? I forgot what it, and it was going to film it. All these guys, like really, Kanye, that guy Kenyon Dwight, all these massive. And I said to Gordon, who is, like, what was it like? Who is the toughest guy to pass? And he said Mikey Muschielli. I went, yeah, I know. And like, there's a 100-pound weight difference between the two. Yeah, I know, because he's so technical. You can't get rid of his hips, and he's up on the shoulders, and he's making the turn, and that's it. Like, that's the essence of it. So if you're doing it wrong now, how do you even get to the next stage? Because you know why I say about half of Mendes being so great is because he gets so deep in the chain. He might not pass you on that first one. He's waiting for the third one, and he's 4th in the chain and 5th in the chain. And now you're exhausted, and you're going, he's going to get by, but you got to get good at that, right? Excellent job, kiddo. I'll do it actually one more time for you guys so you understand. He's making the turn, and now George, I'm coming up on the shoulder. I'm going, shit, I just switched to this leg, and he's landed. I'm going, oh, he's back up on the shoulder the other way again, right? So you're learning how to go left and right on it, left and right, okay? Try your best, what I told you, write things down, watch the video. It's all been recorded. Try to absorb it. There's something that a bunch of guys are doing, super minor, but you have to fix that. Unfortunately, you were taught how to shrimp like this from the very beginning, right? I just watched it. It's like guys that do, right? And their whole goal is just get to that side, right? My feet, 1 foot never leaves the mat, right? Even when I'm like this, and I came up, I'm like this, right? As I clear, I'm like this, foot didn't leave the mat. I may need to shrimp again. You may jump. I maybe need to get back up. Foot's never left the mat. One's never left the mat. And now I see people doing this. They're coming up like this. And now they're going like this. They're throwing it. And both feet are up in the air. And what's he going to do? He's going to spin you like you're a breakdancer. And he's going to go, let me play with this guy a little bit. And just woof, spin you around. You're just going to go a little tabletop. And you go, what the hell happened to me? My 1 foot never leaves the mat. You got a lot of things you got to correct. And now that gets ingrained in that you'll think that you're like this, you're shrimping, and you're putting this foot on the mat, and you go, no, there's a certain sequence in how you shrimp. It's one leg, hip comes out, all the way out, hip pulls back in. Maybe this leg comes over, and I'm like this, legs up. Then this one becomes like the bottom touching leg to come back over, because then we need to shrimp again, right? So it's a drill you could do over and over. You get good at it, man, you become a monster. It's so exhausting to pass a person that knows how to do this. Exhausting. And you won't get by. And then as your energy level goes like this, they start to go like this. And now you go, oh, give me a second. I'm going to get some water. I can use the bathroom. No, your ego is about to go like this, and you can't deal with this, so you ran to the bathroom. That's the truth. 2 minutes before we go live.